What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. Yesterday we covered a stock ASNS that ran about 300%. Today we're going to be looking at a stock that ran about 200% on the day. Today's been absolutely phenomenal. I've been able to bring myself out of the red by about a couple thousand up to about an $11,000 day thanks to one big trade that I made on the stock ALQA. So we're going to dive in, look at the stock, take a look at the trade I made, kind of give you some tips along the ways so that way next time you're trading a stock and you see something similar to this, you can kind of expect what might happen. So let's jump into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here it is. Here are the stock ALQA. This is what it currently looks like. This is a 1 minute chart time frame. So you can see it's had a very good day from the beginning when it gapped up, and then it's to its highs of 524. It so far is up on the day about 200%, or ran up to 200% gain, close to about 190. So really big move. This stock had some positive news earlier in the day that really gave it its traction for the day. So all in all, you can see here the profit and loss on the day with this stock is $12,200. All in all, I will be up about 11,000 profit. Let me actually grab something here. So yeah, there is the P&L for the day, up currently $10,800. And as you can see from here, really, I traded Apple, made $30 there, 12,000 of it coming from 12,000 of my profit coming from ALQA, and then we lost a couple here, $100 here, 500 there. So really poor trading, except for really the stock ALQA. So all in all, a good day. So where did I trade it? I traded it right in the middle of the day here at about 11:30. Give me just a second. I want to grab my drawing tools real fast. Okay, so this is basically what I traded. I was in our group, and I said, hey guys, watch ALQA for a breakout into new highs today. With the way that it's channeling back and forth, looks like it's setting up for a breakout, arguably a bullish pennant move. And as you can see there, the price action, after its big move of the day, it rallied back and forth, creating higher lows all the way up until eventually we had the breakout. So throughout this point, some will call me crazy. I was long 22,000 shares, basically right here. I was long 22,000 shares right in that dip, basically before this massive push. As soon as we got up towards high a day here, I dumped basically 18,000 shares, sold a little bit more here, and then ended up taking my last sell position right there as we started to break down. So all in all, I had basically a 22,000 share position going into this big squeeze, and I sold everything right at the top for a really big gain. So I started buying in long right here towards the VWAP. I added in some here. I had most of my position. I probably had about 16,000 shares accumulated by this pop here. And then I added in the last little bit of shares here to get me up to 22,000, in which I dumped all the shares out at the top. So kind of what happened here is we had this bullish pennant, right? And then eventually once it broke up, right? It broke through this resistance. The resistance marks will be red arrows. It broke through this resistance, caused a squeeze. Then it got up towards high a day. It broke high a day, got another squeeze, and then it broke over the $5 mark for a small little pop. And then that's where I started selling most of my shares. All right, so what you kind of have to understand about this is a penny stock that ran really big on the day, okay? So a lot of times what we have happen here with these big penny stocks, they run up, and then eventually they kind of top out, and then a lot of times you'll see them consolidate, and this is very similar to what I showed you guys yesterday with ASNS, right? It had its big move, and then it just consolidated. It did not break down. See, what happens with these big penny stocks is once they have their massive run, everybody thinks too short, right? Bet that it's going to go down, so they all start selling the stock, trying to get it to break down. Well, if you have a bunch of people get short here and some get short there and then some get short here, right? When and if they get squeezed out, it causes a massive push. And that's exactly what we traded. We basically traded the breakout and the short squeeze of this bullish pennant and just started sizing out along the way. Knowing that if the stock were to break over, again, red lines are resistance. If it were to break over this initial 460 mark, and then if it broke over the initial high a day, we were going to start squeezing, because chances are if people were getting short and the people getting short are the yellow arrows. People get short here, here, and here. Now, these green lines, or we'll use it as blue, the blue lines would be their stop loss. Their stop losses would be around here. They'd be around here. So knowing that, if this starts moving up and breaking out as we anticipated, we know the move would be strong because people had been shorting and people have been watching all day for a breakout. So what I'm getting at here is with the amount of people I knew were short selling it and the amount of people I knew were following it, volume was heavy all day. You know, this is a good stock to keep on watch all day long. And thankfully, you know, for me, since I was down on the day, thankfully, it did end up having that bullish pennant look to it, and it did end up breaking out for a nice win. So again, P&L there, 12,000 on the day, finishing up just shy of 11,000. So something else to note, it would be on the yearly chart, or we'd have to actually go back probably 3 years. Yeah, I think I was on a 3-year chart. So something to note here, you know, with these penny stocks, you know, when you look at their yearly chart, they're usually breaking some sort of resistance along the way. So you can kind of see here for a long time, the price consolidated around this like $4 mark, right? It consolidated around $4. So it's safe to say you could mark off, you know, like a resistance area right at about this $4 level. Okay, we'll mark one there. And then another one was at the $5 level that we briefly broke, right? So $5 was like right in here. Where is it at? Right there, right? 475, where we have 5. And $5 is kind of right there. So $5 is just a big mental resistance point. So if we were to go back and look at this after we mark out all these resistance points, you'll probably see that they have some interaction throughout today, okay? So looking at it now, it kind of becomes clear, right? You marked off these resistance points. So the first one was at 280 mark, and look what happened right about 280. The stock ended up breaking out, right? And then it got over 4, right? Pushed over 4, and then we came back down and we started consolidating at the VWAP and right around that $4 price that we had marked off. And then eventually we had that breakout. Okay, so again, the importance here is to always make sure that you're going back into later time frames, marking off your resistance. Why? Because look at this. Look at the $5 resistance mark we had marked off, and that's exactly where the stock got to, and I sold everything, you know, knowing that that's resistance, and hey, this might be the top for the day. If it goes higher, it goes higher, but I mean, that was a massive trade. To not take profit there would just be silly. All right, so another beautiful trade. This is exactly what I like to trade, right? When we're talking about penny stocks, this is what I like. I don't like one that just moves, you know, 10, 30 cents in the day. Like, yeah, forget about that. I'm looking for a stock that's going to have a big move, right? Now, you guys will say, well, how do you know it's going to have a big move? We don't know that it's ever going to have a big move for sure, right? So when we find a penny stock that starts running, we follow it. You keep it on watch. When you think it's done, it might not be done. See, what happens a lot of times too is these penny stocks will move. Everybody sees them in the beginning of the day. They see this big move, and then as soon as it sells off, they go, I missed my chance. It's done. It's over. Well, no. If it continues to hold up and it continues to rally, it's most likely going to form into some type of pattern. Whether or not that pattern breaks to the upside or the downside is a whole nother story. But this is a big problem. The penny stock will run, it'll come down a lot, and then everyone goes, you know, it's no longer worthy, right? And then all of a sudden it rallies a bit, then it does that, and it does this, and it does that, and they don't follow it, then all of a sudden, right, it'll channel into some type of pattern, and then it breaks out, and then they go, oh man, I should have kept watching it, and they're still sad, right? Still sad. Okay, so that's another problem. A thing I see with a lot of these penny stocks too sometimes is, you know, we'll watch them in the beginning of the morning and then they run a couple hundred points and everyone goes, oh, I should have held it or I should have kept following it. And yeah, that's true. Some of you guys might not have all day long to follow a stock. I get it, right? And it is what it is. But, you know, on the flip side, just know that when a penny stock goes running in the morning and it goes up like this, it doesn't necessarily mean it's done. Look for it to channel back and forth into a bullish pattern thereafter, okay? And I've explained this too. Once stocks go up and they start coming down, that's when you'll start to see, you know, you always hear people say bullish pennant or bull flag this or bull flag that. Well, bullish pennants and bull flags and breakout patterns, they don't happen when stocks are going up. They happen when stocks are consolidating, right? They happen in the ugly time, right? they don't happen when everyone's making a bunch of money. When stocks are flying up, there is no, naturally, you're not seeing big bull flags, you're not seeing, bullish pennants, you're not seeing W patterns, you're just seeing a move up with pullbacks. It's when a stock goes up and then comes down and then it starts channeling back and forth. That's when the stock is working its way into a potential pattern. And the potential pattern, again, is where you can see a lot of these great moves, as you can clearly see that one right there. Right? So, just some helpful tips. So going forward, ALQA, they had some strong news. It started going heavy in the beginning of the day. We continued watching it. It ended up, performing into a bullish pennant. It's possible that the stock will continue going, so I'm going to follow it for the rest of the day. For your newer traders, this is going to be a stock that's heavily on watch tomorrow. This is another thing you have to be cautious of. There's a ton of people watching this stock right now, and then tomorrow, especially if it keeps going up and up and up, more people are going to go, holy cow, hey, look at ALQA, it's up this much. It had, a 300 or 200% gain the day before. Is it going to continue running? And that's where you need to be cautious. Why? Because look at what happened to ASNS. Okay. I remember telling people yesterday, as this gets up higher, it's more high risk. It's probably not going to be the best trader on the day tomorrow. And as you can see, what's happened is it sold off from its highs yesterday, sold off pre-market, had a few pops, and then it ultimately is selling off a little bit today. So usually the day after isn't always the best day to be trying to get in long on these stocks. Excuse me, I need to actually share you guys that screen real fast. Let me do that. This is ASNS, right? It's not normally the best stock to be trading on the next day. You can see it went up, sold off, came down. So again, ultimately, usually the next day, it's very high risk to be considering long bias trades on these big runners, all right? So for those of you guys that ended up tuning into this video, just know if you're a beginner trader that tomorrow, ALQA may not be the one particular stock you want to be primarily focused on. Unless you're a little bit more advanced and have a little intermediate style of trading, it can be very high risk. So I hope you guys liked the video. I hope that helps you guys learn a little bit along the way. As always, thank you again for tuning in. If you can, give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe on the channel, and make sure to tune into any of the other videos so you guys can continue learning. So thank you guys again, and I'll see you on the next video.